welcome to WrestleCast. This is our first ever episode. I'm Ryan and I'm joined by Charlie. Today we are going to be discussing our top 5 wrestlers of all time, and we'll give a little bit of our reasons as to why. So, Charlie, would you like to start? Who's your number 5?
It's actually Mick Foley. Obviously, his characters, Mick Foley as a whole, sort of the man Mick Foley as a whole, obviously playing Dude Love, Mankind, Cactus Jack. I would have to say, out of all of those sort of personas that he did sort of play, I would have to say Cactus Jack was my favourite. The reason why is the first ever wrestling match that I did see was, I think it was a street fight. He was fighting Triple H.
He was. I remember that
And
match. That match was brutal.
Yeah, and it was with the thumbtacks, and he's got pedigreed on top of thumbtacks. I think.
It's also the match where he was handcuffed and beat with a chair.
Yeah, that exact match. I remember. God knows why. I must have been what? I would have been about 6, which is a 6-year-old watching this kind of wrestling match. Must have been that was a match that really sucked me into watching wrestling. 6-year-old Cactus Jack.
My number 5 pick has to be the Undertaker.
Alright, Taker, yeah.
I just believe Undertaker is the best big man in the history of the business. For a guy who is almost 7 foot tall, I think in real life he's 6'9" or something. For a guy as large as he is very athletic.
Yeah.
Obviously he's had a few personas in his day. The Dead Man probably being the most popular, but I personally love the American Badass. Seeing him come out on that motorbike and you're just like, this guy is genuinely a badass. And he has, even at his age, had, like in his later years, had some of the best matches in WWE history. A big one for that would be his WrestleMania matches against Shawn Michaels and Triple H were outstanding. Who would your number 4 pick be for the greatest wrestlers of all time?
I'm kind of cheating here again. These guys can't be mentioned. Like, they need to be mentioned in a top list. Personally, my top list, and it is the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian. Just as a whole sort of package.
Yeah, all of them, all 6 of them, all your number 4 pick. Okay.
As my number 4, I couldn't put the Hardys without the Dudleys, and I couldn't put them without Edge and Christian.
So this is kind of an Attitude Era tag team division as a whole as your number 4 pick.
Yeah. To put it sort of plain black and white. Yeah, that is my. That is exactly what I'm saying.
That is exactly
it. There's no one that can stop me, because I'm in my house by myself right now. No one can stop me.
This is true. There's nothing anyone can do but allow you to pick all these guys as your number 4. My number 4 pick would have to be none other than the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Again, not the most technical wrestler, but the guy could brawl with the best of them, and he was just a badass, drinking beers all over the place, flipping people off, stunnering anything that moved. The guy, he is, again, one of these iconic wrestlers that cannot go unmentioned in a top list. Again, Charlie, who would you put as your number 3?
My number 3.
Hopefully not the entire women's division from the Attitude Era.
Well, I think they're on a different list somewhere. They're not a wrestling list.
No, they were not.
But I would have to say, I'm obliged to say, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
You know what, Charlie? We both have the same number 3 pick.
Do we?
Yeah,
ding, number 3.
That's
just for obvious reasons. Heartbreak Kid. He was obviously he was a great technical wrestler. Not the best. He was good though.
He was
He
good.
was so athletic.
He was.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things about Shawn Michaels is he can go out, or could go out, and put on a great match against absolutely anyone. You know, he's the kind
Yeah.
of guy that can work with anyone and have the best
Yeah.
match of the night, and that is
And he
why
makes everyone look better.
he
He does.
does.
It makes people look better than what Mr. WrestleMania. You know,
Yes,
that's what it was. It was Mr. WrestleMania. You know, people would be going to WrestleMania, and you remember WrestleMania for that match. I remember him when he retired Ric Flair.
he
You know, it
did. That
was quite
match
an
was
emotional match.
outstanding. It really was.
Exactly. It was one of the best matches I've seen, probably.
It was, and again, like when I mentioned Undertaker, both of Shawn Michaels' matches against him at WrestleMania were
Yeah.
some of the best matches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Which again, why he is on this list. In fact, it's why all my top three picks are on this list. Him and the two above it. So that being said, who is your number two pick?
Chris Jericho. Y2J.
You know, Chris Jericho was actually my number one pick. I'll talk about him right now, and then we can talk about our number one separate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why
I'm
did
going to say
you put
Y2J.
Jericho on your list?
Why? Because he is one. I'm going to say it. He's probably the best promo guy cutting promos. Obviously you got The Rock, you know, stuff like that. Stone Cold, as you said. But Y2J, he seems to obviously play a face wrestler brilliantly. He plays a heel wrestler even better.
I
He
agree.
cuts
I agree.
amazing promos.
He does.
He's a really, really, really good wrestler,
Yep.
and the guy's still relevant now. You know,
He
he was
is. He is.
relevant in the
Which
Attitude
after
Era.
what 20 years, 20 odd years in
Yeah.
wrestling, he is still
Mhm.
relevant today. We've still not seen everything Jericho has to offer.
He's not top of the roster. You know, he's obviously, but he is still putting guys over. You know,
He
he
is,
is
and
still
he has
putting on
spoke
great
about how
matches.
he is happy to do that. You know,
Yeah.
Jericho, he has spoke out and said how he is happy to put the younger guys over, and he
Mhm.
believes that's the role he sees himself in now. He knows
Yeah.
he shouldn't be at the top of the roster anymore because he is getting on, but
Mhm.
he just wants to be there and help the younger guys get over, which is, you know, it's
Exactly.
a mindset most wrestlers do not have.
Yeah, but they're quite egotistical, aren't they? A lot of
They are.
wrestlers, you know.
Also a
There you go.
nine-time Intercontinental Champion, a multiple-time Tag Champ. He held the European title when that was still a thing. I mean, the guy has done everything there is to do in wrestling, and he's still going.
Yeah.
So
And probably one of his biggest accolades of all, he's number one on Ryan Martin's top list of
this is
wrestlers.
very true, very true. He makes my top list, and that's all that really matters, isn't it? I mean, when it
Yeah.
all comes down to it,
Undisputed what?
yeah, all the titles and that mean nothing as long as he's on my list. That's what's important.
Yeah,
So speaking of
exactly.
then, who is your number one?
My number one is going to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Um, Personally for me, um, the mainstay of the Attitude Era. Rock was the man to take that baton and sort of take it to the next level. You know, take that light and take it to the next level. He cut probably, along with Jericho, the best promos I've ever seen, I've
The
ever heard
guy,
to date.
The Rock, is incredibly charismatic. He really is.
Yeah. For non wrestling fans, if you went up to anyone, in my opinion, if I turned around and asked my grandmother, I was like, oh, name a wrestler, I'm 90% sure she would say either Hulk Hogan or The Rock. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and for obviously Hulk Hogan, for the reason that being that it's probably that sort of time group, but for a for a woman of that age to say The Rock, he must have done something right. He drew an audience, and he was, as you said, he was charismatic. He he was a good wrestler as well, mind you. You know,
He
but
was,
mainly
but
for his promos. I know a lot of. I watch wrestling for to be entertained. You know, I don't want to sit and watch wrestling for to be bored stiffless.
this is true. This is true, and The Rock is one of the most entertaining guys in wrestling history, without a doubt. So, moving on to my final pick, then, I would have to choose someone who actually has some serious wrestling ability, possibly the best straight up wrestler that pro wrestling has ever had, Kurt Angle. The guy, again, like Jericho and Shawn Michaels,
All right. Yep.
can have an outstanding match against absolutely anyone. His straight up wrestling ability is unrivaled. And I mean, it's just a joy watching him work in the ring.
Yeah, I agree. I hated Kurt Angle.
You hated him. That's reasonable. You know, he was a heel for the majority of his career, and he was a very good heel. You know, he got the fans to dislike him,
Yeah, I
which is the
hated him.
heel's job. You know, that's but love him or hate him,
Yeah, yeah,
his in-ring ability cannot be disputed. He can't go unmentioned in a list of the greatest of all time.
So he's your number 2.
He was my number 2 and Jericho was my number 1, but obviously we swapped
Right.
the orders with you bringing Jericho in as your number 2.
Right.
So yeah, that's both of our top 5s. So this has
Exactly.
been the first episode of WrestleCast. It is the night of Backlash. Backlash is going to start in approximately 5 hours. Starts at 1 a.m. over here. This will probably be uploaded just after Backlash, but the next video we're going to do is actually going to be our review of Backlash, and then we will go from there. But we've got some ideas for things to put up in the future, some more lists like this. Any parting words, Charlie?
Yeah, just put down in the comments below how you felt this went. Put down in the comments below your top 5. You know how you feel our top 5 are. You know what you would change about it, and put down ideas as well. You know, we want ideas from people. You know what to talk about. What do you want to listen to? Just feedback, critical feedback or positive feedback. You know, we're tough skinned. You know, we can take it all. But most of all, just thanks for listening, and yeah, just thank you very much for listening.
Well, that's it from us then. So I've been Ryan, he's been Charlie, and until next time, please do try this at home.